Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of Final Fantasy 13. We are continuing our way through Orphan's Cradle. And right now we're having another Rubik's Cube reconfiguration. So again, we're going to have another different sort of labyrinth to navigate. And these falsy looking guardians are going to give us a new puzzle to explore. So you can go left, or you can go right, or you can go up, or you can go down. And basically we actually really need to use this little central elevator to go up and down. It's really quite important because there's some useful accessories down there. And obviously the way forward is to go take the wider path, either left or right. Go around, but we are going to see down there, we can see, oh, there's actually 2 treasure chests on the lower level and 2 treasure chests on the upper level. Now, we fought these guys lots before. Debuff him, get rid of his sword, job done. Now, if we use this, it'll take us lower. We collect the 2 different treasure chests, that's fine. And then when we talk to the central expanse again, it will take us to the higher level or lower level, whichever. But basically we got an adamantoid that's really good. Basically an adamantine bangle, I should say, gives a huge boost to HP, which of course is brilliant. And then we get some elixirs and some scarlatites, all very, very good, very useful indeed. The only elixir that can be found in game, I believe, apart from basically scrapping star level doctor's codes. Now, I actually wander here and I go back to Orphan's Cradle. It was legitimately a huge waste of time. I went back there, I wandered around, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to bore you with that. I literally went, showed that, like, the different pathways are gone, and it's just now in a state where, even when we get to the end of the game, the start of Orphan's Cradle will look the same. And I'm just doing a quick little bit of tidying through paradigms, so pause the video once I'm about to finish this, and you can see what paradigms I kept going forward. Because we're going to have to fight some big enemies here now, so we don't need to go the central way anymore because we legitimately already went that way. I had just reloaded a save, and that's why everything is kind of respawned. But what is really good is that this episode I'm going to be able to show you guys the best way to get experience points for the game. Unfortunately, as I said previously, it's not a permanent solution, but it's a really, really good set of battles where you can fight basically the samurai looking Seath and the 2 elemental beasts, one that's immune to magic, one that's immune to physical. And they both give 64,000 with a growth egg, so always really important that we went through and we got that growth egg from the mission. And this goes for all these other little battles that we're just getting double EXP because, as I say, we're going to be grinding till we hit max EXP on all our characters, so the more EXP we're getting before then lessens the time that we have to spend doing that. Now, this particular guy casts Dispel. So what we want Vanille to hit with is basically Imperil and Fog, because he's not able to cast a spell so long as he has Fog on him, which now he does. Our buffs are safe now. But I have an interesting lore question. I thought all the Sanctum people were turned into Seath, and yet we have like Sanctum officers in the midst of Eden's matrix. I couldn't even find the word for that there, oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm being silly here. I'm not, you know, purely targeting the Templar, which I should be, because this tank guy is too strong to have something else whittling away at our HP and potentially having the buffs fall off and us not be able to deal with the onslaught of cannon fire from the big tank. And unfortunately we get knocked up in the air, so we need our healers to go heal, and then lightning will launch if he didn't like run around the map. But as I say, we're now in a much better position. The debuffs are all on this tank here, so he's poisoned, he's deprotected, he's imperiled. All really good statuses for us to be able just to skyrocket up the chain gauge. And what's handy about the combat clinics is that a taunt slows the stagger gauge quite significantly actually. So even if you're at risk of running out of time to get a stagger back, just taunting and they go out really quick instead of having to like run as light, run across the map and try and hit it with something. The taunt is just a lot quicker. And now that it is staggered, we get the simple launch. And like, again, I find it so funny that like we're launching things 6 times our size and probably bajillion times more the weight. But literally this is the exact same fight, just with some sacrifices. So for the sake of brevity, let's skedaddle by that. I was just fixing things up in the menuing, so please forgive me. I menu way too much in JRPGs, to be honest. I kind of hop in, I look through stuff, and then I leave, and I'm like, well, that's getting cut. there's no need to like work on that. So this is actually the guy we're going to farm. So he's basically a boss here, like a mini boss here, and now we're going to make him, you know, our grind monster when we get to a little bit further on in the episode. But I did not by any means have the appropriate or, you know, really good strategy for him. Because unfortunately this party is not the best party to take part in this with. Now, if I'm quick enough, I should be able to get lightning healed up. And then if we can get rid of the Asuna, there we go, thank you. And then we'll get back on putting debuffs on him and building up the staggers. So we really, all we actually want is deprotect. That is legitimately all we need. D-Shell is fine, but I'll do a proper run through of like the grinding party and the grinding team. But essentially you want a Sentinel to draw all the aggro, and therefore you won't be losing all your different buffs and things. And what we then want is for, while the debuffs are still on, we then pepper him with basically elemental infused attacks, and even with Hope, like Hope and Fang attacking together can mince meat through his HP bar, because he actually has so little defense that you legitimately do not need to put his stagger bar anywhere near full. And this whole contempt thing, very annoying. It like shoots out debuffs and removes your buffs. It's really bad. And if you get hit with it with a deprotect on, you're gonna be finished. So realistically, now is the time. And like that, we have our elemental attacks, and even Hope is doing tons of damage. Boss fight over. 5 stars, 64,000, and we are going to be rinsing and repeating that fight repeatedly. And where we're going to do that is just over here. So once again, we're in another reshuffling of Orphan's Cradle. And we're going to quickly run and save. And then progress on. And you'll be glad to know that this is actually like the final one. There's legitimately no other area bar here. So this really is where you want to kind of stay and take stock. Because if you go too far ahead and trigger the next fight, you're moved on to the final area and you can never come back here again. So fair warning, this is the point of no return. Get all of the CP you're willing to grind for here. Because if you pass go, you are not able to return. So I'm just going to quickly show you briefly the two kind of fights you can take part in. And I got very lucky in these first two, but then I kind of hit a snag, and then eventually, after some research, I was like, okay, no, this is a much better strategy. And it basically requires Hope as the leader, and then Snow and Fang, actually, all working really well. And then obviously I take the time to, you know, get everybody all their different crystals in all the different roles. And then I decide to then max out the Crystarium point, I suppose. Like I just literally make sure I have all the crystal points that I can get in the bank, as they say. And the problem here is that like we just have too squishy a character party collection, and our paradigms, you know, this guy needs a sentinel because he is doing 2+K, like, you know what I mean? He's like, and he attacks very quickly. Much too quickly that, like, you know, like Vanille's basically gone. Only for the fact that Hope is such a good healer, like, we would have been game over, you know? But look at that, he's now put like D-Shell and stuff on us. But thankfully our Elude is working great. But he also removes his own debuffs, so this is where we have to keep on putting on buffs again and putting on debuffs again because he's literally debuffing us. Now, your guess is as good as my guess as to why that stagger happened. I have rewatched it, I am looking at it. I don't know what caused it. Not an ocean, not going to complain, but like that was very much not the typical way you're going to do this. So this other way is much more consistent. But if I hadn't gotten that stagger, I'd say I would have probably won, but it would have taken way longer than the way that I'm going to show you guys. Now, these two are literally the exact same as before. They have their weakness to physical, or their immunity to physical and immunity to magic damage. And the whole thing with these guys is that you want them debuffed. Debuffed, because yes, they still do their healing thing, but the more debuffs they have, and obviously the more buffs you have, the better. Again, with this Snow, Fang, Hope paradigm system, you typically can have Snow as a sentinel, and then Fang as a saboteur, and Hope as a synergist. And you can basically do in fire, haste, bravery, faith on both himself and Fang. Like, Snow doesn't need any buffs at all because he's just going to be tanking. And then once you have all the gang together, all buffed up, you basically can pick on one of them. I typically pick on the magically weak one, the Jabberwocky. And then all you have to do then is once you finish one of them, and odds are Fang will have D-Shell and all that stuff. But even like with Hope and Vanille and stuff, we're still getting through it reasonably, and I say reasonably well. I say that as I'm like literally nearly dying with lightning. But Hope and Vanille are the best medics. They're the best magic casters anyway, so you can afford to be a little bit reckless, you know. But between that little loop, you basically end up getting 64 times 2,000, you know what I mean? 64,000 times 2 rather. So it is really not that bad of a vibe, to be honest. And there's also another fight. I don't typically do it because it just takes longer, but I do go down basically the ramp, and that ramp basically leads us back to the save point. But you can just use the lifts to go up and down, run to the save point, and then run back in, and all the enemies will be respawned for you to farm them essentially. And it's purely because this area is meant to be, oh, I run by them and they're really difficult, and then I hit the next save point and then I'm immediately moved out of here, never to return. But thanks to the guides I read, this is one of the best places to get your crystal points up to maximum. And now that the Bandersnatch is gone, we can now work on the Jabberwock. We get like our smite as well for 60k. Love that for us. And now it's just a case of rushing through with our commandos, our Ravengers. So Commander to keep the bar steady, Ravengers to absolutely obliterate the stagger bar. Might as well have Vanille throw on some more debuffs if she can. And looking a bit dicey. Come on guys, let's just quick casting, come on. Yeah, once it's staggered, then it's back to aggression, and Vanille's down, but at this point it doesn't matter. He would have been launched and it would have been game over, so we're all good. Another 64,000, and you also have the chance of getting Star Blossom Seeds. So if you don't mind the grind taking a little longer, Star Blossom Seeds sell for major money, like major money. So they're kind of a handy 2-for-1, you know. Now I died that one time and then I went back with a Decepticol, but I was just like, well, if getting him really close to stagger makes the samurai guy really easy, then I'm a do that, you know. Now Vanille getting incredibly low, but even still, we don't even need him to actually be hit by stagger, because we take him out before he even is able to do anything else. And thanks to Hope, we've gotten some good damage out on the Templar. So a really quick fight, to be honest. Just funny that lightning defies gravity and stays in the air hitting longer as your other man falls. I always find that really funny. When they like to do stagger, they just lose all their like anti-gravity suspension. And yeah, this is just formatting now at this point. We just go through, get rid of him, and that is like 71,000. So like all in all, massive amounts of EXP in a relatively short period of time. Like we're up to 26,000. If we did that loop 4 times, we'd be at max. You know what I mean? So it isn't too bad. But all you have to do to reset all these monsters is just run. Well, down the ramp isn't advisable. It's not as speedy. You can literally take those glowing elevators up and down, and so you just have to go up, fight, down, run back to the save point, save, and repeat. So when you're going to see in the next frame, I've basically reloaded from when I've maxed out all my Crystariums. And then I was like, I'm just going to triple check I have everybody's. And then I look here and I'm like, why does HP say 25 out of 26? This entire time. That's why I shouldn't be cutting out them anyway, because you guys would have said, oh, you know, we're after noticing you don't have all the crystals in like Ravenger. And then I look really silly because I was like, I've maxed everything out, woohoo! And then it's like, oh, actually I have to go through and spend Like, I wondered, did I miss anybody else's? And I did. I missed, like, so many other people's one crystal out of, like, Ravager or, like, Sentinel or whatever. Or oh, I was so embarrassed. But basically, yeah, I had to go through some people's grids and spend points on them. But we're going to show you the best way and, like, the more refined way of doing this EXP grind with the parties of Hope, Snow, and Fang. And you can just run up to this elevator, activate it, fight the samurai guy, take the elevator back down, run to the save point, and back again. And it really just becomes a fine art then at this stage. So when you start, you're going to haste and in elemental something. I just go for in frost because it's like the quickest to go near to on the list of commands. And then you want to do faith and bravery on both Hope and Fang. And by this point, she should have thrown back on Deep Protect because of the mounting contempt. He typically gets rid of it. And so I just like to give Snow Protect just to get rid of the Deep Protect. And then you check, yes, he has Deep Protect now. And so we just charge in. And since Snow is aggroing, Fang gets a blindside activated, which is brilliant. And just really amplifies her damage. And then we're literally just wanting the ATB refresh and the extra boost from having another level 4 commando. And in under a minute, we have 64,000. And obviously I just did that on repeat till we had everyone maxed out. And believe you me, when we get into the post game, that stockpile of CP will not go to waste. Those crystal points are going to be spent immediately. And at this point, I'm like, I don't want to fight. I'm not interested in a fight. I don't want to fight at all. I just, like, it's literally like, save me a few minutes better than just use a Deceptisol to get by. I then went in and I was like selling some of the components and I was upgrading different things. So like, with the sacrifices, we got loads of Scarletites. So you should definitely just go along and basically upgrade all your weapons that require Scarletites. Just because you should have a massive stockpile of them there. But what's coming up next is another fight with this bloody, like, I can't even remember where we fought this thing. It looks like a fusion of Tiamat. Well, no, sorry, Tiamat's the name. It's a fusion of Bahamut and the, like, little electro guy thingy that we fought with when Lightning and Fang met up with Hope and he was trying to protect Snow. That's what's giving me reminders of this thing. Now, why I didn't just put in Bar Frost, I will never know. That would have just been intelligent, to be honest. But yeah, we can now have Fang re-putting on haste and stuff. It's so, like, Fang's synergist role with, like, the Protectras, the Bravera, the Faithra, like... Fang, high-key, low-key is the best. I mean, the best synergist. And now we have a lovely overdrive, but I'm also pretty sure we can't dispel them. And like, we have that, like, we're max stats now, really, so we can just power through. We're two of the tankiest people in the game, so, you know, if we're having trouble with HP management, we're doing something wrong. But this is where the triple, like, so triple Rav or triple Commando, always, like, really, really useful. But obviously, once we get all of them to level 5, like, the passive bonuses are really what helps scale things to crazy. So, like, for example, if I had Lightning here and we had the triple Commando with 3 level 4 Commandos, oh my god, it would be crazy. And similarly, if we had like Lightning, Hope, and Snow, having the 3 level 4 Ravengers, mad, you know, craziness. And we get the max damage with the 9s. Now, I also have to confess something. While I was grinding, I don't know how it happened, but I got the trophy for doing really high damage. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, that appeared, and basically, yeah, it's just with using Fang and having her with like Braver or something on her, you will invariably hit the damage cap, and that'll get you the trophy. I'm sorry I didn't get it while I was like in the I wasn't recording it, but I wasn't aiming to get it either, so it was just like, oh, I got that. Interesting. That's a bit of a shame. I missed that for like all you guys. But yeah, this is going to be the party that I go fight Orphan with, to be honest. Hope is more than medic enough to heal all on his own. But what's also really cool is the fact that Snow actually gets very powerful single heals. So he has like Curasa and Cure. So with Hope being able to have really high magic and then Snow getting the bonus healing potential from Curasa, they're actually quite a powerful trio, especially when you consider that Fang has like the Brave Res and Protect Res. So like Hope's the best medic and Ravenger and a like decent synergist. Fang is like the best synergist, and then Snow is kind of jack of all trades, decent Ravenger, decent Sentinel. No, sorry, probably the best Sentinel. Decent medic, alright Saboteur. But now we basically have the portal to the final area in the game. And once we go through here, we can never come back. But we're going to warp through, but just keep in mind, if you want to do anything in this previous area, do it now before going into this portal, because all you'll see on the other side is a portal to bring you back to the beginning of Orphan's Cradle. Back to the altar area where all the other Seath are. But here we are, the room before the final confrontation. We've come a long way since episode 1. All those many months ago. Thank you so much for the journey you've been on with me. We're going to just look through our paradigms, make sure they're sorted for the final fight. We want Fang to be able to cast Protera and Braver. And we're going to use that at the start. We basically have a nice healing one here. That's the Saboteuring. We have the healing one there and the Combat Clinic, that's grand. Snow has the Curasa and a slightly better. But yeah, you'll see them in action now next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you guys got to the max EXP threshold. And I'll see you next episode for the final fight. Have a good one and talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Battles we can win if we